All right, good morning. This is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, and I have a 30-minute Zoom consultation with Abrielle, Mrs. Shell or Miss Shell. I don't want to misquote. Good morning. How are you, AB?
I'm doing well. I got a couple of questions because unfortunately I'm gonna have to go back to work. I was discussing this with some of the students in the program. My husband, his mental health, he quit his job due to his mental health. So I was supposed to be doing this full time. My husband is a network engineer. So he had a really good job, but he was supposed to be, like I was supposed to be doing this full time and he was supposed to be supporting me. So when that happened, it was just like, man, like I'm going to have to like push this to the weekends now. So I was like, let me go ahead and schedule a meeting with Charles to make sure I have everything down pat, before I jump off into work. And so it doesn't overwhelm me, me working a full-time job and then me doing this on the weekends. So okay. I've been taking from other groups to schedule trucks during the week. So it won't make it harder for you on the weekends for them to drop loads. So I just want to make sure that I have everything in order. I still don't have a carrier. But the good thing about my job is that I work closely with truckers, people who have their own trucks that are looking for freight all the time.
So what are you? What is your job?
So I'm actually a logistics specialist at Worldwide Technology. It's a tech company, and I work in the warehouse department. And we work hand in hand with the trucks. Like I actually do the unloading. I'm pretty much like a lumber, if you want to say, but or what you call them, a lumper.
Correct.
I think they call them lumpers. Yeah, I kind of sort of do like what lumpers do. But I'm working hand in hand with these trucks. I'm processing orders. I'm doing all that stuff. It's not like dispatching, but I'm just processing the orders that come into the warehouse, making sure that
do you come across, so when the truckers that come in there, are they company drivers? Are some of them owner ops with their own authority? Or
oh yeah, these are people like with their own authorities, and like they're just finding these loads. And I've come across a couple of new drivers that were like, some young guys, and I know one of them, their truck wasn't working right, and I said, you need to tell your company. I said, something wrong with this door. I can't hardly get it open. He was like, man, don't talk about my truck like that. I said, oh, so this is yours? He said, yeah. He was just like, my friend should be pulling up here with his own truck too. We got a couple of loads, delivering to this building. I said, huh. So I started, paying attention to who was coming in. So a lot of these guys have their own trucks. You'll see FedEx and UPS come by, but most of these people that are coming to Worldwide, they have their own trucks.
So have you started a conversation about them, whether they need a dispatcher or not, took their information?
I have not. I've actually been on leave since I had COVID. So like with the post-COVID symptoms and, it kind of jeopardized my immune system a little bit. That's what happened with this ear infection. So I will be going back on the 28th of this month. But since I've gotten into this program, I said, hey, wait a minute. I'm just like, I'm trying to make it a good thing. I'm trying to look at it as a positive thing, me going back to work.
Because you can leverage
the
fact you can create your dispatcher agreement and your profile while you're there and just take copies with you. I don't know if you are permitted to do that, pass them out or just get the contact information of those individuals when you're loading or offloading. I'm assuming you're on a forklift when you're doing this, or pallet jack and all that stuff.
We actually have we have like an electric pallet jack.
Okay.
So that's what we unload. All this material, like we unload crates, like big, huge crates. Because since they build like these towers with all these wires, it's a tech company. So we unload like these big crates and just material that the whole entire warehouse needs to pack stuff or put on the racks and all that stuff like that. So but I think I've gotten past that, just unloading trucks all the time and doing all this. I'm like, man, I'm getting tired of this. So I started becoming familiar with the truckers coming in, and one of the truckers had mentioned to me, he was just like, man, he was just like, you friendly with all the truckers in here. And he was just like, you seem like one of the guys. And I'm like, okay. He was just like, yeah, like you should branch out on your own. I can see you, doing something on your own. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean? And he was just like, well, they have like brokers, dispatching, and I didn't know what those terms were at the time. I mean, I knew what a dispatcher was, and I knew that brokering was something complicated, but I'm like, okay. So it was a thought. But once I went on leave, I thought about it. I was just like, let me look this up. So that's when I got into the program.
Okay. Yep. So now you can leverage that when you go back to work and speak to those owner operators with their own truck and trailers and their own authority, and see about dispatching for them.
Yes. So, and see, I'm still like, I practice with some of the other students in the class about with the cold calling, and they said that they feel like I have the cold calling down. I think my only issue is just finding carriers. But
see, you don't even have to, since you're at a facility that you see trucks come in all the time frequently, you may not even have to use the cold calling tactic. There's other ways to get carriers: cold calling, emails, texts, visiting truck stops. But you are at a facility that carriers come in and you speak to them as you're loading and unloading their trucks. You can start that conversation like that. Hey man, are you a company driver or are you an owner op? And yeah, if they're an owner op, then you start the conversation now. Well, you find your own loads or do you have a dispatcher? If they don't have a dispatcher, are you looking to get a dispatcher? I'm starting my own dispatching service. I understand the industry because I'm in here loading and unloading trucks right now. So I understand the logistics. So you can kind of leverage the conversation in that direction.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
and that's what I was gonna, because I really don't want to rush myself, with the whole process, because I did just start it like in the middle of my leave, and me and my husband talking, and I'll support you, go ahead, do it full time and stuff like that. So it just came out of nowhere that like, hey, you got to return back to work. And so I think that's what I'll do. As far as like finding a carrier, I think I might wait until, because I'm cool with most of those truckers that come through there. You do have some new ones that are coming in monthly, probably like 2 or 3 new ones that are coming in. But we do have regulars that come in and they say, oh, I'm just trying to find loads. I'm just trying to find loads. And I'm like, huh? Oh, yeah, I'm just trying to find work. That's pretty much what that means.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so I didn't know that at the time, because of course I wasn't dispatching, but just now, just looking back on all those terms that they were using, it's just like, okay, now it all makes sense. They're trying to find work. They're trying to, move loads for different companies there. And I'm guessing that they didn't have a dispatcher, because it's like, if you're doing it, it's going to be hard as a driver for you to do that on your own. You don't have a laptop. I mean, yeah, you can go off your phone, but I mean, it's kind of complicated to do it. And you driving around, you just driving around till somebody call you. I know that's what one of the little younger guys was doing. He was driving around until somebody called him with some work. And I'm like, what? I said, they should make this easy for y'all. Like, what's going on? But he didn't have a dispatcher.
Right. So now you see that. So you're in a better space or a better place as someone who's in logistics. You're a logistics specialist already. It's right in your lap. All you got to do is just know how to use it.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You don't even have to, you can eliminate the cold calling aspect unless you're at home on the weekends or whatever, on your days off, but you are in a facility that bring your customers to you. You don't even realize it. The carriers are coming to you. All you gotta do is you just gotta leverage that. You gotta leverage it and use it to your advantage.
Yeah, that's why I said I was gonna turn a negative into a positive, because I was kind of down about going back to work, but I'm just like, wait a minute, I got all these truckers that I'm familiar with, and the people that's coming in and got their own trucks. I said I might as well just wait till I go back within a couple of weeks. Just have everything else in order and make sure, I have my business flyers or whatever and my cards. Because we're cool with most of the truckers, we can, like advertise or whatever, give out our cards or something, because they do the same thing. They'd
Yeah,
be like, hey,
give out your cards, pass
yeah,
out if they want a dispatcher, or if they're looking for a dispatcher, give them a copy of your created dispatcher agreement and your created carrier profile. Let them take that with them. And that way they can read it over and fill it out, return it back to you or whatever, or have it in their possession and look at it.
that's a good idea. I'm gonna write that down. And now that
Yeah.
I think about it, a lot of them, so the lady that I work next to at work, we pretty much we do the same thing, but it's just us two in that section that deal with the truckers. She has a stack of cards of people with their own trucks or like their own little small business.
That are looking for dispatchers or just in general.
They just, if you need anything moved, just let us know. That's
okay, so they're just looking. Okay, they're just looking for loads.
Yeah, they're looking to move loads.
So you can, if they're looking for move loads, the possibility of them looking for a dispatcher to help them move loads is great.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking about everything. Like when I was back there, working with her, I'm just like, man, okay, because I had moved departments in my it's still in the logistics section, but pretty much I was working with truckers hand on hand. At first, I product up, restacking it, doing all that. It got too hard on my body, so I moved over to this other section with this other young lady, and I was just like, man, I said, I wish I could have started off doing this. I'm like, this is cool right here. You get familiar with people, you build relationships, and people are always trying to put you on to like different positions or, encouraging you to start your own business. And just looking back and seeing that, dang, like I could have been started this. I could have been and done this. But I mean, it is what it is. I'll go back to work and I'll go ahead and use everything to my advantage. Because it is. Like you said, it's sitting in my lap.
Yeah, right there. So what questions do you have for me? Was that mainly you were just trying to figure out how to put everything together?
So pretty much, yes. So like, okay, talking to the okay, so when I'm talking to my carrier, so I call my carrier first, right, to see if they want to move the load, correct?
Right. To see if you're doing a cold call, are you talking about cold calls?
Yeah. So let's say that, okay, well, let's say I get a carrier at the company that I work for. I'm familiar with them. So would I find a load and then call the carrier and ask them like, hey man, I found a load for you, would you want to move it?
Right. And they will give you, so when you set up a dispatcher agreement with them and a carrier profile, you'll have them fill out a dispatch agreement and profile. And that way on the profile, they'll tell you how they're looking for loads and what type of loads they want and what cents per mile. So then you can cater your load search according to that. But the carrier will have to start that conversation by filling out that profile and letting you know. So the dispatcher agreement locks you in a contract between you and the carrier. The profile tells you by the carrier what they want, as far as the load types. So yeah.
Okay, so after that paperwork has been completed by the carrier, so do I get in contact with the broker then, or?
Right. So when you get your dispatch agreement and profile returned to you, then you go on load boards to look for posted loads that meet the criteria or the qualifications of the profile, what they're looking for. And then when you find such a load, you first share with the carrier, say, hey man, I found you a load, to see if they want it, see what the rate is, and then you negotiate your information into the rate too. And then you call the broker and get details about the load. The broker's going to see if your carrier, based off of their MC number, is already set up with them or not. And if they are not, then you'll go through that first initial process of setting up the carrier, getting them approved with that brokerage through the broker carrier agreement. And then after that process is completed, then the broker will send you a rate confirmation to confirm the booking of the load that you're calling about.
Okay. I'm just writing all this down because I just want to make sure I have everything.
Because you have access to our members portal, correct?
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is all back there. So yeah, this is all in our members portal, and then we just added some stuff in here too under members portal. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So either under the orientation or under tools and resources, we just added a PDF and a PowerPoint, dispatcher course outline PowerPoint and in PDF form. So if we do the PDF form, it basically goes through, what is dispatching, freight dispatchers, what's the role of a dispatcher, what you do, how to set your business up, this high level stuff. The dispatcher agreement, carrier profile, the 3 equipment types that we get you started on to focus on initially. And then what are the additional onboarding documents that you as a dispatcher need to receive copies of from the carrier once you get them set up under a dispatcher agreement and a profile? You need a copy of their MC authority certificate, a copy of their certificate of insurance, a copy of their W-9, and if they have a factoring company, a copy of the credit application or notice of assignment. And then we talk about steps of how to acquire carriers. You are in a good place in this particular point because you are at a facility where carriers actually come to you. You just got to figure out how to put that together.
Yeah.
So we got truck stops, cold calls, social media, running ads, text and email campaigns, business cards, flyers, word of mouth.
Yeah.
So, and then what is the process? What is the workflow? What is your workflow? Once you get a carrier, you get everything that you need from the carrier returned to you. Then what is your process and workflow? So, okay. And then go from there. You go, dispatcher views the profile, goes to the load board, looks for the load, finds the load that matches the profile, calls the broker, get the carrier set up, get the rate confirmation signed, get them approved, books the load, right? I mean, there's a lot more in between that. That's just a high level overview.
Right.
So, and then once the carrier delivers, how do you get paid? What are the ways you get paid? PayPal, Zelle, Square, QuickBooks, things of that nature. So just some general concepts with that. Let me open up something else and give a larger view of it.
Now I got a question for you. So I was playing on the load board, what was that, last week? And I saw, since I'm in the Midwest, I'm in Illinois, I was looking for stuff coming out of Illinois. And I saw one of the loads that was traveling at 457 miles. And I guess they want 2,800 for the load, but it was $6.13 per mile.
Yeah.
Is that ridiculous? Because I'm just like, wait a minute.
No, that's a decent, that's cool. That's fine. That's a good paying load. They must want that freight real bad.
Okay, then. Okay. Cause I'm thinking like, okay, wait a minute. Aren't we supposed to stay in like that $2.50, $3.25 range or $3 range?
That's on average, but yeah, if you get something better than that, then yeah, you're winning. So yes. And what equipment type was that load for? Was it drive-in, flatbed, reefer?
That was a reefer.
Yeah. So then that amount, I'm almost certain that it was going to have multiple pickups and multiple stops on that load. Or was it just a 1-and-1?
You know what? I didn't look at that. That's probably why. But I looked at it. I was like, $6.13. Hold on, wait a minute. Like, isn't that kind of like ridiculous? But I guess, I mean, I still have to understand certain things on the load board. And once I get going in it, I'll understand more.
Correct. So yes, you are correct. So yeah. So here's our PowerPoint of what we just talked about too. So,
okay.
And it's in the back office, the PowerPoint as well. So yeah. You just got to learn, the particulars of that load, the details of the load, so that you can understand the reason why that rate was such a high rate, because it could have been multiple pickup, multiple stops. So the brokers want to justify the fact that it is multiple pickups and multiple stops and the chance of detention and lumper and things like that with a high rate per mile.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So so I got me a map. I was just like, okay, then I said I'm gonna need a map because Charles be sitting up here talking about the zones and stuff like that and what
we got all of that in our back office.
Yeah, I saw that, but you know what? I ordered me like a big one. It was on like $5 on Amazon, but
Yeah, you can go to like Office Max and get one of those little rolled out maps, like a
yeah, yep,
like a
yep.
three
So
by a 3x3, roll it out. I got one in my office upstairs where I got it taped to the wall.
and see, that's what I'm about to do too, because I was paying attention to where you said that some of these truckers don't like going in some areas. But see, with me being in the Midwest, I feel like I'm gonna have to know that because a lot of freight comes through the Midwest, like you said. We have so many truck stops. Like I'm 30 minutes away from St. Louis, so we have so many truck stops
Right.
here
So
in
right.
my area.
Yeah, right here on the maps. And certain states make up what's called a zone. So you're in the Midwest. So zones 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are pretty good zones to keep dry vans, flatbeds, or reefers
Okay.
running in those states. And then if you look at the zones and the states in them, and then you see the zones down at the bottom here, and these are 2 separate PDFs. You can click each image and you'll get the PDF of it. And then you can download the PDF for yourself. Let me open it up, expand it a little bit. So like that. So,
Okay.
and then the same thing with the zones one. You can expand that too, grow it, and you'll be able to see it. So each zone contains, like zones 3 through 7, like zone 3 contains the states of Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. So you ask your carrier, but that's where you get the information on the profile. You can ask the carrier, what zones do you like to run in? And you'll get 1 or 2 answers. What's a zone? Or I like to run in zones 3, 4, 5. And then you'll be able to define for the carriers the zones that they want to run in based off of the states. Most of them stay in zones 3 through 7, like mostly, or zones 3, 4, maybe 6, and maybe 7, maybe not 5, because 5 may be cool too. Certain states in zone 5, but never zone 0, never zone 1, because most people don't want to go to the Northeast because of the tolls and
Right.
it pays well going up there, but coming out, things like that. So these are the things that you would educate yourself in, but it's in our back office under the tools.
Okay.
Even the map right here, the map. So you can grow that map out on the PDF and download it or look at it on your PDF.
Okay.
Right, so you can see the maps and the zones, or you can go to the zones themselves. So
I got a question. So now I'm looking at those and stuff, and I'm thinking about one of the truck drivers that would drop off to our company, and he always complained about not being able to find loads, but at the same time he wanted to stay local with his truck.
Well, that's why. Because because he's running local. You're not going to get a lot of good paying loads running local unless you have a direct customer that you're working with exclusively. You can't go on a load board and get local loads all the time and get paid unless you get locked in with a specific contract with a specific customer that you run for them exclusively. Then you may be able to make some money. Otherwise, you gotta get out of that state. You gotta travel over the road and make some money. So those are the type of carriers with that type of mentality I stay away from.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you'll be pulling your hair out trying to deal with them.
That's what he was doing. He didn't have much on his head, but no. So and the lady that I work next to, she was just like, well, she was like, have you ever thought about traveling a little bit further than outside your hometown, or maybe to Missouri, a couple of hours away? He was like, no, because I want to get home to my wife on time. And she was just like, dude, but you got bills to pay too, though. Don't
right, exactly. So at least if you want to get either home every night, or at least consider home the next night, an overnight trip, and at least you're back the next day, something like that, you can probably start making money. And then once you start seeing the money with that, then maybe you'll say, well, I could be out 2 nights and then come back home. Take me out 2 days and come back home. Or take me out a week and come back home. Your numbers are going to start growing. But if you're just trying to be home every night, then you might as well just drop your trailer and start pulling containers from the ports.
Yeah. See, he it didn't make no sense, because I'm just like, I'm used to I just heard of like local drivers this year, because my father-in-law, he's a truck driver, and he said that he was gonna go local. So I'm like, okay, I guess you just gonna drive in the area. But I'm just used to seeing truck drivers just on the road traveling all across the country. So when this guy said that, I was just like, I know you ain't making no money. I said, your wife probably taking care of all the business, because he just drops off to our building. He said, oh, well, I can't find nothing else. And I want to stay local, and people act like they ain't got nothing for me. I'm like, yeah, because they probably want you to take this freight further than where you want to go. They want you to take this delivery further than where you want to go. So he's turning down jobs because he doesn't want to go outside of his limits.
But then wondering why he can't find freight.
Exactly. So he was just like, oh, well, they not calling me. So at first the lady next to me, she feeling sympathy for him, like, oh, it's gonna be okay. Oh, it's, now that I think about it, I'm like, nah, that's your fault. When you in the trucking business, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be hard, especially if you want to stay. And I ain't talking about like, oh, I drive an hour out. He wants to stay in like his hometown.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't want to go anywhere outside of Illinois. He wants to stay in Illinois. He don't want to travel past the hour out. I said, okay, well, you just gonna stay broke there. Because I said, you picked the wrong field if you trying to just stay within those boundaries. I'm gonna stay away from him now, because he ain't gonna make me no money. So
yeah, okay. Yeah. You gotta get owner operators who wants to be out for like at least a few days, if not a week. And then the ideal owner operators, the ones that'll be out, like, let's say I want to be out of a month's time, I'll be out 3 weeks on the road and then home 1 week. Yeah. So if that's the case, then they want to be out 3 weeks. So you send them out a week and a half, and then you work their way back the second week and a half for a total of 3 weeks. And by the time that 3 weeks ends, they're back at home. So okay. That's how you do that.
And is it best to work with people that are just now coming in, like just now coming into the industry, or because I don't know, I feel like, because I think some of those drivers were a little bit seasoned. I don't want to call them old. I feel like that's rude, but a lot of them been driving for a long time. They were working
old.
They've been driving for a long time. So like I kind of feel like if I try to like, swoop them in, they'll be like, oh no, like I know how to do my own stuff. And I don't know. Like, should I just go for like the new carriers, or it doesn't matter?
Mix it up.
Okay.
Mix it up. So yeah, but right now, what you probably should do is focus on the carriers that are coming into the facility that you're currently working at. So, and then go from there. Build that rapport with those carriers coming in, letting them know, like, look, I offer, in addition to working here, I'm going to be offering independent freight dispatcher services.
Okay. And I got a good relationship with most of them. But I'm pretty sure since I've been out, like some new ones have, came through. But yeah, I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. I guess I just needed like advice on like, some type of direction, me going back to work, since it happened out of the blue. So I'm just, I guess I need that, oh, you'll be all right. And, just do this. Cause I was kind of stuck. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do when I get back to work? Like, I work near truckers, but I guess I just kind of got stuck. And I'm like, man, this ain't gonna even work. I done sit up here and try to, start my business off, and it's not gonna be successful because I gotta go back to work. And, my husband dealing with mental health issues, but, I support him because I've been there, so even though his the engineering money was good, it's still at the same time, his health was more important. So I told him to go ahead and take that leave, and then I'll go back to work. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna use this as my advantage. Let me schedule something with Charles and get his input on a couple of things. And so I think I got everything else down pat. I just needed some guidance in a few areas, when it comes to this dispatching.
Okay. All righty.
So I'll be bothering you again before I go back to work, because I'm pretty sure I'll probably get stuck on something else. I might have a question that come up. So, but I appreciate you for the help though, like, and the classes and all that stuff. Like, it's really helped me, like, understanding the terminology and all that. Like, I'm fit to go back up and work like I own the place.
Okay.
Yeah, like I know, like, hey man, I know what you're going through. I know.
Yeah. All right.
So we got, okay. So, okay, I guess I'll be on Saturday. I guess I'll be in on the Zoom as well. And if I have any questions, then I'll go ahead and ask you in class on Saturday.
Okay, that'll work.
Okay, then. Thank you so much, Charles. Have a good one.
You're welcome.
All righty. Bye-bye.
All right. All right, guys, this has been Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Center. We just had a 30-minute consultation with AB or Abrielle Shell about how to leverage. She's in a good place. She works for logistics. She's a logistics specialist at a company. So she sees trucks come in all the time. So she doesn't have to use that cold calling technique to get carriers. She can actually talk to those carriers, some of which are looking for dispatchers. So she can leverage the fact that she works at a company where carriers are literally coming to her, spoon feeding her with business. She just has to know how to put all that together and in place. So if you or someone you know interested in becoming an independent freight dispatcher or even a freight broker for that matter, reach out to us at the Exodus Logistics Learning Center. We have a dispatcher one-on-one training for beginners program, as well as a freight broker one-on-one training for beginners program. So you can reach out to us 757-515-1684 or go to our website, exodusdispatchingandtraining.com, or email us at exoduslogisticsllc at yahoo.com, or our other email, info@exodusdispatchingandtraining.com. And the information will be in the description of this video once I post it. Until then, guys, have a great day and enjoy your weekend.